But it goes back to some of these first examples. I'll also exhibit that standard too if somebody's trying to belittle me, because every single one of you agree that that type of response to you acknowledging yourself and them saying, get off your high horse, that's a passive aggressive way of belittling you. All of you would agree with that.
Everything I've said I'm gonna do, I do. And now you're along for the ride too.
So before we even get into technical stuff and how to build your business, if we don't handle that, I don't care if I give you the most potent weapon on the planet, you're gonna be very ineffective with it. Because the vessel, the entity, the person using that weapon just is in la la land. It's like if I give somebody the most powerful gun and you're at war and you guys are there all pointing at the enemy and that person just in la la land like, it's like, bro, it's like, wake up, right? Like that's a good demonstration of what I'm talking about here. It's that. So we start working on it, right? I said, okay, now I want you to extend the time. Number one, I want you to work on eye contact, right? Number two, I want you to start extending the time. Number three, I want you to start literally forcing yourself to look and start acknowledging things that you do like about yourself. Because I don't care how much you hate yourself, there's some things you like about yourself in present moment. And we're gonna start, building off this and get the snowball effect going, and we're gonna work on this, right? And very quickly, within like a couple weeks, those individuals on my team started walking into the office differently, carrying themselves differently, responding to negativity differently. And very quickly, these people just who for years had exhibited certain qualities just started interacting with the world differently. And do you know how you can spot change in people? The one main vehicle is how they communicate. If somebody has changed their way of communicating, you can become very aware that they've made some changes about themselves. Right? So normally, as an example, one of those kids would walk into a venue and like have their head down and not really look at anybody, right? Now, 2 weeks later is walking in, acknowledging people, saying hello. Oh, that's a big change. Now, to a lot of people, that's insignificant. No, that's huge. Because now that person will potentially have an interaction with somebody now, versus before they were just like, I don't want to be noticed. And then the response, they would think, oh, that's, a confident person versus, oh, that kid's lost, the one who walks with his head down. So everything starts changing. You go at the root, which is you, but the byproduct of that is not only internal change, it will be external change too. What does everybody else do? They want to work on everything externally versus here. Now that exercise that I gave you, if you're interested in taking it to the next level, this always gets people to laugh. Do the next one in a full mirror, naked. Right? And then that will amplify it, because now if you thought you had it handled, now you're back to square one, right? And then we've only seen this stuff, like it's a silly example, and you've only seen it like in movies where people are admiring themselves like, yeah, But like this is you with you, right? And it's just you being with yourself and your own thoughts. There's nothing weird about that. That needs to be normalized in today's society, because then as individuals, if everybody walked around a little bit more sure of themselves, right? We would have less negative interactions, less people would be sour about life, and everything collectively would change because the individual is evolving and getting stronger. Now when somebody maybe is emotional in their head and they go off on you, you don't contribute towards it. You're just like, okay, cool, I understand you're having a bad day, not a problem. But if you're not cool with you, then you get in this verbal jujitsu with them, and then what does it do? It just turns into a storm. It's crazy. So even at that level, it would improve society, because that one person would break that pattern. Now, moving forward, insert situation like I brought up earlier about confrontation. Oh, now it's a little bit easier. Why? Because you've dealt and you've faced the most uncomfortable thoughts and moments that you could ever experience, because it's you with you. You with you is more uncomfortable than anything else on the planet. Why? Because that's the one that you avoid forever. You will put up with an ungodly amount of just trash from other people and things, but when it comes to yourself, you won't do it, which tells me that we as individuals fear that the most over everything. Now, handle that. Now that, maybe you're hesitant to call for sell by owners, forget it. Maybe you're hesitant to contact expireds, gone. Maybe you're hesitant to show yourself on social media, because we're going to talk about that, gone. Because I tell people too, in regards to social media, right, which we're going to talk about too, how can you want to grow your social media, right, and put things out there, when if I get you to film a video about you and tell you to watch it, you cringe? Oh, I can't watch myself. Oh, I'm horrible. Oh no. So dude, okay, but you expect the audience to not respond that way too? Right? And again, that is brought back to what I brought up earlier too. If you watch yourself and enjoy it, you think too highly of yourself. Nah, dude, I did a good job and I'm acknowledging it, right? Another issue is maybe that level of consciousness around you, you have that around you. You have people enabling that behavior because they'll talk to you that way and you allow it. Nobody around me talks to me that way. Because at the very least, even if we're not gonna, like fight about it, like I'm gonna say something. I'm like, nah, dude, I know I did a good job and I'm acknowledging it. Now, if they want to take that conversation farther, please do, let's do it. Because I'll just decimate them, not a problem. Then they'll feel stupid after. But not because I'm belittling them, just because I'm hitting them with facts. Fact, 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 right? Now think about that type of conviction in that situation where somebody's belittling you. Now take a parallel example of you with the seller or a buyer. How many of you cave in too easily with buyers and sellers and just, well, we're supposed to list it at 400, but they want 800. Okay, we'll list it for 800. How many of you are afraid to put your foot down? How many of you are afraid to potentially walk away? I would say the times that I've walked away from somebody because they're being unreasonable, about half the time they call me to come back. Like on the spot. Oh, no, don't leave. And everything shifts in that moment. I am always the one who's willing to walk away. Why? Because I have a standard. But it goes back to some of these first examples. I'll also exhibit that standard too if somebody's trying to belittle me. Because every single one of you agree that type of response to you acknowledging yourself and them saying, get off your high horse, that's a passive aggressive way of belittling you. All of you would agree with that. And then if I would stand up, like on a movie, you would all be like, yeah! But then how come you don't do it in your own life? That's a character, fictitious character on the screen, and you'll clap for him, but you won't do it for yourself. Isn't that a shame? Yet, again, we want to be that person who's also making $1 million, selling 50 homes a year, 100 homes a year, whatever your goals are, right? Like we have to make the connection there. That ask, that goal, that commitment, right? Now you and your actions have to align with that. That level of person does what I just said. They'll face those situations, no problem. Oh, it's uncomfortable? Good, I'll be the first one, right? Tense room, right? Everybody wants to ask a question. Be the first one to raise your hand. Because a lot of people will unconsciously get permission because you raised your hand first, even though everyone's dying to raise their hand. Just like school back in the day, right? I would be embarrassed in school to raise my hand, like what if somebody teases me, right, for asking my question? It just seems stupid. Then I wouldn't ask the question, and I'd go to the teacher after and ask the question. And the teacher's like, what the hell are you doing, dude? Raise your hand. And so I started learning that early on. But again, you can't take that. That's one of those childhood traits that you need to get rid of. There's a lot from our childhood we need to amplify, right? For sure. As an example, the positive stubbornness of a child, right? Have a child come up to you between age, 4 to probably 12. I think that's probably when they start losing it, right before high school, like middle school. And he's like, oh, I want to be an astronaut. And I want you to sit there and talk him out of it and see how the kid responds to you. Mommy, I don't like this guy, right? Like he'll be like, dude, get out of my face, basically. Like he might not cuss at you, but he'll literally, in the moment, create an argument against you that'll probably have you questioning yourself as to why you're questioning him about being an astronaut, right?